A diesel tanker that has fallen at a portion of the Ekpan bridge in Warri, that's actually in Delta State. And this tanker has spilled its content. And there was this, at the press time, there was a heavy traffic on the road and the linking the bridge between the incident with some persons scooping diesel into their jerry cans. There was also no record of casualty at the time of this report, but it was gathered that some firefighting vehicles hurriedly mobilized to the scene. And appeal to those scooping the diesel fell on deaf ears as they continued to fill their jerry cans, racing to keep them at secured places and coming back with new ones. Nigerians will never learn the lessons from the past bitter situations when people are scooping fuel from falling tankers and there was an inferno that consumed them. See how they are refusing to heed to appeals to scoop the product. This was a statement of an onlooker. Nigerians, this keeps happening over and over again. In fact, another person also recalled on a similar incident at Cocoa Junction not too long ago, where those scooping fuel from a falling tanker lost their lives from a resultant inferno. And in the meantime, some passengers trapped in the hold-up caused by the broken down tanker were heard expressing gratitude to God that the content was not filled. Else, it would have been a different story, and these were the thoughts of the passengers who were actually held on that road. What is wrong with us? There are so many aspects to look at in this story, but let's just get your views on the tanker, the fact that we keep getting these topics over and over again. In fact, if you're in a vehicle and you're driving close to a tanker and you're a public transport person, individual as a driver, you hear your passenger screaming at you, that's a tanker, why are you close to a tanker? People see tankers as things that could just fall in.
Monsters, yes. You know, in Nigeria, I think somebody made a comment that, thank God it is not a PMS. If it were PMS that spilled this content, the story would have been different. Now we are talking about AGO, that's diesel, which is not as inflammable as petrol. So, yeah, the scenario is always the same. You know, petrol or any other fuel in Nigeria is of high demand. The price is very high. PMS sells for $7.50 per liter, and I think diesel is even selling for a higher price. And when an event like that occurs, when an incident like that occurs, what will strike the mind of the onlooker is how much of this thing can I get to sell to make what? Money. Now, that mentality has continued over and over. This idea of filling petrol tankers, you know, falling and people dying is not. It dates back to the 80s. It has been happening like that, even when fuel was cheap, a bit cheap.
Is it the case with the drivers not being careful enough,
yes,
or these vehicles not even being okay for the road?
In most cases, when something happens to a vehicle, about 70 to 80% of the accident is caused by the drivers. If you are passing by East-West Road, for instance, when you see these loaded tankers, the velocity with which they move, it's as if it's an SUV, you know. Some of them even want to overtake. So it calls to question the integrity of the drivers. You know, before now, I think so. There was an event where we said they should check the drivers, let them take a case history of the drivers. Some are smokers, some are even doing, because smoking in most cases goes with drinking. And all these sachet drinks you find in the parks, you know, some of them buy them in good quantity. In their own mentality, they believe that drinking those things will keep them alert. Some take cola nut, some even take snuff. I've seen it. So these things,
help them stay active.
Yeah, these substances you take, some of them are psychedelic in nature. They alter your reasoning. You know, somebody will say, I took that in and I was high. What they mean by being high is that their minds are now suggesting to them that this thing I've taken has taken me to a different pedestal. they begin to reason differently. So all those drugs, substances that alter the reasoning of an individual, they are psychedelic substances. And in most cases, you don't use them when you're steering. But this thing is common.
Putting the lives of other Nigerians at risk.
It has been the case. Most of the accidents that occur on our roads, about 70 to 80% of them are not caused because of the bad vehicle. It's the drivers that cause it. So I think the only thing we can do is we continue to sensitize the people.
They have an association. They have the Tankers Drivers Association. So sensitizing tanker drivers is not so difficult.
It's not.
Because there's a way you can reach all of them.
It's not. The problem is what level of sensitization. Then after sensitizing them, what level of sanctions do we impose when somebody errs? It is one thing with those associations is that if Mr. A belongs to that, is a driver and he belongs to that association, he has a boss. Even if two drivers make a mistake or they err in breaking their rules and regulations, the Oga can go behind and say, please take this in and allow them to work.
So what do we do then? How do we curb this menace? Because this is a real menace that's killed a lot of people.
Yes.
Where drivers would probably, like you have said, take all of these substances and then mount the steering.
That the case of the drivers is one, about 70 to 80%. Bad roads also cause between 10 to 15%. Bad roads. Sometimes you are driving on a very wide road and all of a sudden you saw a ditch, and then knowing if the driver falls into that ditch, it will. So the attempt of the driver to say, let me now shift this way, let me now meander. In meandering,
cause an accident.
All those trucks, those are long trucks. So in trying to meander, so depending on the speed, sometimes it trips off.
Even the time of the day, I think there was actually a statement about there being a particular time when tankers are supposed to be on the road, and time when tankers are not supposed to be on the road.
Now in Nigeria now, let's be fair to ourselves. If in the daytime people are entering one chance taxis and so on within the town and they are being robbed, how can tankers safely drive in the night? These bad people will just come and before their eyes offload the content into their drums and so on, and they go away. So most of those laws are not tenable. And that is why the other day we emphasized the recruitment of sane human beings into the police force without being prebendal, without this man-on-man syndrome, to ensure that in America, in other countries, even the seas are guided. They have coast guards. In Nigeria, if any offense, if there is any incident of piracy near Cotton Channel here or near a community, nobody is accountable. We live in a society where everybody is accountable to himself and perhaps to God. And that is why you see the prayer houses filled on Sunday. When somebody has been kidnapped, what the family does is not to look for a way to get the person. What they do is to surrender themselves to a pastor for prayers, because they know that in the system more or less.
A lot of people don't trust the system anymore.
At all.
In fact, some people, when they have cases like that, they don't even go to security operatives because they don't trust even the security operatives to be able to handle such a matter. So in a case where you can't go to the security operatives, you don't have the money to give to the kidnappers, what do you do at the end of the day?
Well, it's to surrender to God and be hopeful.
It's very
and we have very good pastors who are motivational speakers who will tell you, see, he has seen a vision, in the next 7 days he will be found, and so on.
Do you now sit down and start blaming the pastor?
No, I'm not blaming the pastors.
Let's also look at the part where Nigerians don't want to learn, according to what that statement was, where in that same state, not too long ago, something similar happened, and a lot of people lost their lives. And these people are aware. It's not like they're not aware. Is it just a case of, it's not my portion? Is it a case of, it can't happen to me? What exactly is the problem with us risking our lives over little change? Because how much can they really make from the sales of those products that will take them completely out of poverty?
No, those things cannot take them. The cost of living crisis is also adding to it. I am not saying it is responsible, but it is adding to it. And this subsidy regime, which the Oga said subsidy is gone, you know, petrol is like, sometimes when we want to go out, you check your pocket, do I have at least 20,000 to buy petrol? Before now, from Port Harcourt to Yenagua, if you are holding 8,000 naira, you can jolly well go and come back in a fuel economic car. But today,
how much is it now?
Before you move now, you are thinking of maybe 25,000 naira.
To Yenagua?
To Yenagua and back, yes. To Yenagua and back.
Okay, oh, you're talking about driving.
Yes,
right?
You drive your own vehicle.
Getting the fuel. Okay.
So the price is now beyond the, so many people are selling their cars because yesterday I met a guy who said he estimated that he has 3 cars. He estimated that the petrol alone he will use for one of the SUVs for 3 months will be equivalent to close to buying a new car.
Wow.
So he decided to sell one. So the point I'm making is people are learning, but people always learn the hard way. Our road maintenance agencies should sit up. Look at within Port Harcourt here. This is our Obirikwere, Uniport and SAS Road axis. Virtually all the roads, all the spots are full of potholes. Yesterday I was even shouting. Are they telling Fubara to look at the roads? The governor of Rivers State, for instance, should declare 0 pothole and ensure that the maintenance agencies will go from road to road and find that the moment there is a pothole, they fill it and keep it okay.
But now, the case that I mentioned, is it a problem with us not being sensitized enough? How do we help the people understand that their lives are at risk when they do this?
Look at it, poverty.
Is it illiteracy or what?
It's not illiteracy. Poverty itself is a psychology. There are some people who have money in their pockets, yet their behavior, their mentality still remains poor. So sensitizing them is not enough. We should also, again, our roads, when such an event occurs, when such an incident occurs, where are the law enforcement agencies? To say, nobody, this thing should. In other countries, once such a thing happens, they get the yellow tape.
Around the place.
They get the yellow tape to condone off the place.
Yes.
Can't it happen here? Or is it that where that thing fell, there were no policemen? The policemen on the road are just out to gororo people's pockets. They stand there. They are not even looking at particulars. Sometimes they are tempted to do the work of road safety. Sometimes the agency, you can't even say vigilante is there. Is in Rivers State, OSPAC is there. So many, we have multiple agencies on our roads, all doing what? Virtually nothing.
And there's this thing with tankers falling on bridges. We had one the other day at this Obirikwere flyover the other day, and it was very, very. There were lives recorded that were lost that day.
You know why bridges are. When you construct a bridge, a bridge is constructed technically. You have what we call strength of materials. That bridge is meant for a particular a set of vehicles. But in most cases, the vehicles plying our bridges, crossing our bridges, some of them are higher than the carrying capacity of the bridges.
The tankers are not supposed to climb.
So at a point, the front of the bridge will begin to depress. Before you know it, if they are not taking care of it very well, before you know it, there will be something like a hole. So at that point, it is up to government to say, let us strengthen. I think they have done so to Third Mainland Bridge severally. Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos. Periodically, they come there to fortify it. Once they begin to notice signs of weakness, they come there to strengthen it. They will condone off the place, cover it for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, strengthen it, and allow people to pass again. But most of the bridges on our major roads are unattended to. So in most cases, they are going in before you know, they have entered into a little ditch. Before they control it, it's over.
Oh my God.
So that is the problem.
We hope that we don't have more cases like this, but it's just us hoping. The right
No,
thing
it will still happen.
The right thing should actually be done. People should be more sensitized, and when we have cases like this, the area should be manned by forcemen, so that we don't have people going to scoop the product, putting their own lives at risk.